Kung maaari po sana yung maupo lahat. Undersecretary Jesus C. Milian, to whom I owe the greatest honor of being commissioned as a Lieutenant Commander of the Philippine Navy, who is now Undersecretary for Civil Veterans and Retirees Affairs of the Department of Defense, Lieutenant General Ernesto G. Carolina, retired, Administrator of the Philippine Veterans Affairs Office, Mr. Alvin Alcid, the Chief Research, Publication and Heraldry Division of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, Lieutenant General Romeo T. Tanalgo, Armed Forces of the Philippines, the Commander of the Northern Luzon Command, Major General Raul L. Del Rosario, Commander of the 1st Air Division of the Philippine Air Force, Brigadier General Edgar F. Gonzalez, Commander of the Mechanized Infantry Division of the Philippine Army, General Gregorio Pio Catapang, retired, our former Chief of Staff, and who I would like to proudly say, my colleague now in the Board of the Basis Conversion and Development Authority. Our World War II heroes, I am humbled by your contribution and service to our country. Your presence gives me so much satisfaction and honor. And to all the post-war veteran leaders, the World War II descendants, I thank you and your families for the contribution that you have for our country. The veteran awardees, who I believe neither bullets nor time could defeat. Marami pong salamat. Ang average age yata ay 93 years old. Our Philippine Veterans Affairs Office officials, members of the Technical Working Committee for the 2016 observance of the Philippine Veterans Week, representative of the U.S. Veterans Affairs Office, our strongest ally, other members of the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police, Reverend Father Angel Vital, Parish Priest of the Holy Rosary Parish Church, our local government leaders of the province of Tarlac and the municipality of Capas, as well as our barangay leaders here in Capas. Other guests, ladies and gentlemen, magandang umaga po sa inyo. Good morning. The warm sun this morning touches our faces with hope and courage. This is the day that we should have been mourning because of the brutal and tragic deaths of thousands of Filipino and American soldiers who fought with valor befitting of the bravest of all soldiers humanity could have ever known. We could have been mourning, but today we do not mourn. We remember. We celebrate. We remember and honor our heroes. We celebrate with joy the liberty and freedom that are the sweetest fruits of our veterans and our heroes' supreme sacrifice. We bow, not in submission or in surrender, but in great respect and honor to our veterans, to those who have passed on and those who we have the remarkable honor of being with here today. And we vow to them with a promise to cherish the sacred blood they shed so unselfishly, so that we may all live up to this morning and feel the warm sun reassuring us of the beauty of life in peace. In remembrance, we commit to eternal memory that in this day of 1942, 10,000 Filipino soldiers, together with 700 Americans, marched to their deaths from Mariveles to Capas, Tarlac, where we are standing now, falling by the wayside, famished, fatigued, diseased, and until they were gored defenseless at the mercy of bayonets and the enemy's bullets. The unwavering valor of our heroes in defending Bataan caused the Japanese Imperial Army to vent their rage and frustration upon our prisoners of war that became now known as the Bataan Death March. The Philippines have never lacked heroes. Hindi po tayo nagkukulang at ni minsan ay hindi tayo nagkulang sa bayani. Our history is defined by their courage, by their toil, by their brilliance, and by unyielding love for our country, the Philippines. However, it is not in words that honor is given life. It is in the manner of how we live our lives with this knowledge of exemplary heroism and love for country that the honor of our heroes breathes life. We recognize that the march of our veterans continue to this day. Out of the 260,000 Filipinos who fought in the Second World War, a mere 18,000 remains alive today. Yet for the last 70 years, the Filipino veterans, including those who survived the ignominy of the Death March, have been fighting a battle against prejudice, a battle to regain the honor of their sacrifice, stripped away by the Rescission Act of 1946, that denied them recognition for the selfless service they dedicated in fighting and dying for liberty. In their honor, I therefore, in my personal capacity and as a Filipino, express my full support to the Filipino Veterans Recognition Project that aims to cause the enactment of a law by the U.S. Congress to award the Congressional Gold Medal for Public Service to the Filipino veterans of the Second World War. I believe firmly in the universal value of justice and equality, which both the United States of America and the Philippine constitutions enshrine in their democratic foundations. Though justice may have eluded these veterans for a long time, many of whom have passed away, their valor and patriotism must be given justice and recognition, regardless of the passing of ages. Their valor is etched in eternity. Let those of us who live do our share. The greatest tragedy that could befall these veterans is to cause the death of their indomitable spirit with apathy and prejudice. I express my great faith that the greatest democracy in this world has the capacity for compassion and justice to correct the mistakes of the past. Its own values embody it. Honor dictates it. The liberty and freedom that we all enjoy today demands it. And so we continue to march with hope, with courage, with faith. Today, I also honor the Filipino veterans of all the conflicts that our country has waged since it became a sovereign nation, either domestic or foreign. Our veterans have served our country with unquestionable loyalty and duty, and for this, we are always grateful. Yet, we likewise must not be blind to the darkest chapter of our history, so that our heroes may see clearly ahead to build a better country. We must recognize that our armed forces, in its most painful chapter, have endured the years of the Marcos dictatorship. Martial law had dimmed the light of our military's moral beacon as the protector of the people. In the 2 decades of martial law, the armed forces had become the instrument of tyranny of the Marcos dictatorship. Thousands died, and it is on record, and thousands more have been tortured. The plunder of national treasury ensued with impunity, which buried our country to indebtedness that we and our children are still paying up to this day. Billions of dollars of public funds remain to be recovered. Martial law destroyed the foundation of honor in this honorable institution. Instead, politics in the military and nepotism prevailed for years. The soldiers' loyalty and adherence to the chain of command was abused by its commander-in-chief to further his own personal ends. Honorable officers were marginalized and were made to leave. Instead, those who served dictatorship without question, regardless of their capabilities, were rewarded handsomely. And yet, our faith in our soldiers and our military institution again prevailed. The call for honor within the military institution helped vanquish the same dictatorship and tyranny. The Filipinos' faith in liberty and justice prevailed. Honor in the military triumphed. Integrity shone. But the march of valor and honor is a daunting task. There is no easy way to get to it. Through the years, the enemies of freedom simply changed faces. The series of military adventurism proves that it requires perseverance and moral courage to exorcise the demons of tyranny that possessed this honorable institution in the past. The war for liberty and equality simply transforms into different fronts and terrain. Terrorism, corruption, adventurism, poverty, bigotry, global and regional security threat, climate change, and the list goes on. For the sake of liberty and freedom that our children must enjoy, we must march on, as our veterans have shown so courageously and unfailingly. Their bodies must have failed them, but their spirits never surrendered. There is no other treasure much precious in this world but freedom and peace. Yet fighting for freedom demands not only valor but material and skills. In BCDA, we do our darndest best to contribute to the Armed Forces Modernization Fund. Under the Aquino presidency, we have remitted in the last 5 years 12 billion of cash to the Armed Forces Modernization Fund. This is 4 billion more than the 8 billion that has been remitted in the last 17 years before the Aquino presidency. We have seen also and we are witness to the expeditious modernization of our armed forces. I felt so proud in December 30, standing in the Rizal Park, when I've heard the boom of our FA-50s, when I've seen our soldiers salute with so much dignity and honor. For a civilian and a Filipino, I never felt so proud being a Filipino. Last March 31, 2016, we remitted to the National Treasury our highest record remittance in the last decade, amounting to 4 billion. Cash po iyon. 4 na billion po na cash ang ibinigay namin last March sa ating gobyerno. Good governance becomes our most effective tool in fighting for our military. We have achieved great accomplishments in generating revenues amounting to this 12 billion in 5 years only. Yung pong dati, 17 taon, 8 billion lang man po ang naibigay. We fought for our armed forces in recovering 2 of the primest lands in the country, the 35-hectare Jusmag lot and the 45-hectare lot in the Navy Officers Village. Taken together, the value of these lots amount to approximately 80 billion. Nanalo po tayo dyan. We won in the Supreme Court. And I have the honor to tell you, and I am humbled by the service, that I myself personally prosecuted these 2 cases to victory in the Supreme Court. These 2 cases are now enshrined in our jurisprudence to serve as the clear precedents to protecting our military reservations against speculation and land grabbing. Kailangan din po nating ipaglaban ang ating mga kawan. We are honored to state also that BCDA had endeavored successfully to recover an account for the alleged lost modernization funds from the sale of Fort Bonifacio. Ito po ang matagal nang sinasabi na nawala raw na pera na pinagbentahan ng Fort Bonifacio. Ito po ngayon ay nabawi natin. These funds are now safely deposited in the trust account of the modernization of the armed forces in the National Treasury. It is totaling already almost 29 billion of cash. Hindi po nagkukulang ang binibigay ng BCDA sa ating sandatahang lakas. As a matter of transparency and institutionalizing reforms, since I became President and CEO of BCDA, I also personally write the Secretary of Defense and our Chief of Staff for every billions and even cents that we remit to the National Treasury. The DND and the Armed Forces, therefore, is always aware at any given time of the amount of funds being deposited in our National Treasury for its modernization. Our books are open for the DND and AFP to look into. Inihahayag po natin ang ating mga libro upang makita ng ating publiko at ng ating mga kasundaluhan ang mga salapi na nakakalap sa ating sa BCDA. Transparency is our investment to national security. Tomorrow is another history that we will be witnessing. And Capas is the venue for this historical event. Tomorrow, President Aquino, the native of Tarlac, will break ground for the new city, the most modern, the cleanest, and the most beautiful city that you could ever see in the Philippines, the Clark Green City. Capas had been a witness of a lot of suffering and violence. But from suffering of the war and from the violence of the insurgency, Capas will rise and will shine to be the monument of peace, goodwill, and development for all our Filipinos to see. Ito po ang bagong syudad hindi lamang po ito katulad ng Fort Bonifacio, ito po ay mas malaki pa sa Fort Bonifacio. Ito po ay 9,500 hektarya na magiging tirahan ninyo, kung saan ang dangal at dignidad ng ating mamamayan ay atin pong kakatawanin. Bilyon-bilyon pong negosyo at ekonomiya ang pupunta rito. Panahon na po upang mangarap ang ating taong bayan. Panahon na po upang mangarap ng malaki. At ito ang ating paningin sa ating kinabukasan. Huwag na po tayong mahirati o magduda sa ating kakayahan. Kung tayo po'y naghahanap pa ng bayani, atin lamang pong namnamin sa ating gunita ang katapangan at ang kabayanihan ng ating mga veterano ngayon. I look at dawn this morning with so much optimism and hope. Our veterans have fought and marched valiantly since 1942 and even earlier. They survived, though with much pain and suffering, but they survived in dignity and honor. I am optimistic that justice will come the way of the brave. I have not known any braver person than them. The sun shines brightly as well to our own soldiers at this present day. Now, this august institution is being led by the generation of officers who started their careers in the environment of democracy and respect to human rights. These are professional soldiers, honorable and men and women of character, steeped in the values of integrity, courage, and service to country. I have been a personal witness to this great transformation that our armed forces of the Philippines are undergoing. Let us keep our faith in them. These officers are the best men and women that I've ever met. They are honorable, courageous, wise, and compassionate. As a testament to this faith in our armed forces, I myself joined the Philippine Navy as a Naval Reserve officer. And I also joined to serve the Army as a member of the Philippine Army Multi-Sectoral Board in its Army Transformation Reform Roadmap. My years in public service tells me of the beautiful transformation that our soldiers are experiencing. Atin pong mga veterano, ang atin pong mga kawal ngayon ay inyong may pagmamalaki. Not only in the institutional level, but in the personal level as well. They comply to have their own scorecards that measure their completeness as a soldier. To our veterans present here, I present today to you an armed forces that each of you can be very proud of. An armed forces upon whose brave and firm hands the freedom of this country can be guaranteed in the face of global security challenges. They will fight with the same fervor, valor, and honor that you did 7 decades ago. We refuse to mourn the deaths of our heroes who march with valor in this day. We honor them, we cherish them, for they have shown to the world who the Filipino soldier is. They have paved the path to honor with their sacred blood in every painful step they took in the more than 100 kilometers of march. In any war, in any battle, the Filipino soldier, to his dying breath, shall fight for freedom. No tyranny, no bigotry, no apathy will ever make us doubt this Filipino heart. The heart that not even death nor age could vanquish. This is the heart of the fighting Filipino. This is the heart of the Invictus, the heart of the unconquerable. Mabuhay po ang Pilipinas.